2.5 minute video from Nat Geo, and then my old friend Infographics. Dimensional and ghosts are the same. Yeah, but it depends on like how you're viewing it though. Because if you're looking for interdimensional beings, like if you're seeing a weird phenomena happen, but you like if you're like a quantum physicist or some shit and you see some like weird shit, you would naturally think, okay, this is an interdimensional phenomena. But if you're like an average Andy on the road, you're more than likely gonna say that's a ghost. Like that's just. Yeah. It just depends on your disposition. Your predisposition, I mean, whatever.
Find out these orbs, supposedly the
orbs are bullshit.
Energy signatures of ghosts.
They're not.
May simply mean it's time to have the house cleaned. And those wild fluctuations in the electromagnetic field could mean you need an electrician, not a ghostbuster. But before we unleash
what? Yeah, orbs are not real. Oh, everybody was so certain this shit was real. Oh, these are interdimensional beings. These are ghosts. These are X, Y, and Z. Here it comes. Watch, there it goes. Oh, you see that? Oh, wait, here comes another one. Not that one. Slow down 10 times. I'm going to look at the fucking... Let's look at the comment section. Oh, they're spooky ghosts. They're spooky... Yeah, these things. Remember this shape. Remember this shape. That is a fucking moth. That is a moth. How do we know this? This is called camera shutter. This is what happens. Camera shutter speed helicopter. Oh, the helicopter is levitating. Oh. Oh, no. The reason why the blades look like they're not moving is because the speed of the blades are matching that of the shutter speed on the camera. Looks so fucked. Yeah, it is. But bugs are not a machine, okay? So they can get their, well, it's one, the speed of the bug flying itself, but also they're an animal. So the speed and the rate and their wings are flapping will not be like this is like 100%, right? This is close to 100% like match frame rate with the blade spinning. But sometimes when flies or bugs near ponds or whatever, they're big enough to show up on a camera. If they're like 90% of the wind, or like the wings, like if it matched 100% the wing flap speed of the bug, it would just look like an orb flying. You wouldn't even notice. Maybe like distorted on ends for the wings. But because they're not, and they're flying at a fast rate, it's going to be like a rod. It's like, that's just how it is.
Let's see what you got, boys. You ready?
We were talking about ghosts, and how are we here? No, because, well, we're talking about effects of physics and stuff. And, it's one is an effect of physics, and two is how you're viewing stuff. Like, this is not a normal effect to have. Like, your brain isn't, like, the reason why it looks weird for us to be on the moon, like, where you see, the moon hop, the infamous moon hop shit. Moon, hop looks fake. Here we go.
Anything here. Alright. But we will at 5. Okay, that sounds good.
This is what people point to as, like, fake. Because it's like, oh, he gets yanked up by a cable.
See.
The reason why it looks trippy to us is because we don't see that. That we don't live like everything that we know. Same thing like I've said 1,000 times. Everything that we know about science is in relation to Earth. Same thing about what we observe about gravity. This does not look right to us because we're not used to this fucking environment. So yeah, that's naturally going to fucking look weird. That's why. It's like the same, that's the same effect with this. When you look at the laminar fluid, the reason why it looks fucking weird is because it doesn't look like a kitchen faucet that we're seeing, or like a waterfall. When you see like the laminar flow effect.
I'm nervous it's not gonna work. We should have 4 spirals after this.
Yeah, they're back to their
Yes!
almost original state.
That's awesome. So it worked. Oh, you can see shear thinning in there. Okay, look, the can I see that?
Okay, we don't care. We all know the effect. But yeah, like our brains aren't designed for this shit. The reason I'm bringing up this effect with like these rods flying is that it's just there's like the big thing. Oh man, it's fucking they're ghosts. Oh man, skyfish. That was it. Skyfish. Like how while rods were like never heard of, now all of a sudden they are famous all because of Araki adding them to JoJo. Fuck. When I was 7 years old, I saw a documentary about these and I believed they were real for 9 years. One day I saw one on a live camera feed. I waited at the window believing that the camera was watching the monitor for it to return. When it finally did, I looked it up and could see that it was just a moth. Boom! Then it's the work of an enemy stand. That's a JoJo's reference. I've never seen that. These are insects, likely moths, which move faster than the frame rate of the camera. Their wings also beat at a lot faster rate than the rate of the camera. The result is this rod-like appearance. You can go outside with a handheld spotlight and attract moths at night. Record them, you get the same exact results. The next thing you know, a guy in a cow outfit will come screaming, he is Apollo 11. It's a JoJo reference. I think that is.
Yep.
I don't know. We're talking about the camera effect shit. But, yeah, there's a lot of shit. The reason I'm bringing this up is because orbs are not real. They're fucking not. It's literally just bugs. Just matching the frame rate. It's not dust. We know what dust looks like on a lens. They're literally just bugs. Just reflecting light. That's all that orbs are.
We need to start with the basics. If ghosts exist, and are they really?
I know spirits are real. No. I'm not against the idea of spirits. We don't really have a means to measure it, but I know that there's like whenever people respond to ghosts, report ghosts, it's either one, it's a truly unexplained experience that you cannot explain, where it may be like, you know, what's it called? Supernatural. There's been documented shit like that where it's like actual, indeed, supernatural phenomena. We just don't know how to measure it. 2, it's mental disorder. 3, it's like there's elements of it which may tie to like interdimensional shit where there's like other effects which you can lump into supernatural, but it's not really about ghosts. I mean, it's more about an aspect of physics, right? Like it's like electromagnetism will throw people their brains off. If there's like a weird magnetic field areas, they could throw people's brains and where they're like imagining shit that isn't there. That's like a just look that shit up. They have like magnetic helmets where it'll fuck your brain up. I think there's electromagnetism. I believe that does.
Well,
that.
they also said that what was it? The like people with propane leaks in the house, like there's
Well,
someone
yeah.
with a propane leak and saw, you know, that, then that's what everyone is seeing. Everyone has a propane leak in their house, and it's like, what?
Yeah, but people are reporting the same shit. But there's other aspects too, psychology, where it's like shadow people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when like
Well,
people sleep paralysis, the number one thing, or schizophrenia,
Yeah.
like the number one thing that people repeat, like in schizophrenia. Like I know this. Like I've seen this shit. Shadow people, schizophrenia is like the number one most common thing. Wendigo just said that. Okay, let's cross out all the bullshit. No mental disorders, no magnetic lines, no environmental issues. How do you explain it? You can't. You don't know.
Yeah.
You can't. That's not a measurable thing.
Yeah. So
I have,
when
I have an answer for you.
what's that?
Wendigo. Oh, wait, let me go piss too. Wait, hey, save this. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Yeah.
This is actually a good topic. I like it. Ah! Ma!
Where's Wendigo?
Okay, my bad. Go ahead, buddy. I'm back.
So you have that kind of issue, right? And that has happened, and there are reports of that happening.
Yes.
There's
there are
also
a lot.
reports of, you know, I like to refer this back to even near-death experiences and stuff like that. It's kind of like the same coin, in a way, right? So when I was a kid, like I lived on a busy street. And I preference that because I want you to know that's a busy street. So, but this particular night, I was sleeping, and it was dark, but then I started hearing something get put on the bed. It's kind of like a little bit of a rat or whatnot put on my bed. And then out of nowhere, my bed would shake, levitate, and scratches would come. Like there would be a sawing noise on my fucking
The fuck?
bed. Yeah, no, seriously,
Yeah.
sawing noises. And then I woke up and I saw the scratch marks on my bottom of my bed. It was a wooden bed. Found out that the guy who lived in the house previously, he was an accountant, and that was his room where he did all his work, and no kids were allowed in there. So, but a lot of times with the busy street, you know, you got trucks going down all the time, but how does it shake a bed and leave scratch marks on it, like saw marks on the bottom of the bed? Like,
The fuck?
you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was young. Could be it could be over imaginative. You know what I mean? That whole thing. But in the other aspect, it could be something else. So there's really no way. And I tell the story all the time because, like, literally, it happened to me.
Yeah.
And no one really ever believes me. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, this shit happened.
Yeah, the problem with that stuff though is like it's hard to measure.
Yeah.
It's like it's in like a controlled environment, which did happen. But go on, what's the name of that movie with the entity? Granted, this is obviously like hyper, like dramatized, but this
Yes.
this is a real.
Are you talking about
Wait, is this not based on a true story? Oh yeah, it is true. Like the novel, the film is based on the 1974 case of Doris Bither, a woman who claimed to have been repeatedly sexually assaulted by an invisible entity who was observed by doctoral students at the University of California, Los Angeles. And there was weird effects that were happening. I believe. Maybe they disproved it. Taff and Gaynor, I'm so proud of my big brain. Pat on the back to me. I thought of this. I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years. But she was reporting this stuff, and they brought her in. There's photographs of what appears to be lights are the only objective evidence gathered in the course of the visits. The images were taken by both Taff and Gaynor. Mind you, Taff and Gaynor were people that they're either skeptic or like just medical professionals observing her. Like they weren't like, oh, I'm here to prove ghosts. They were just there. But when I say lights, I'm not saying orbs. There's light that is showing in a room that wasn't readily observable. It's possible that the cameras, because they were IR, I believe they were at IR because it was night. When they were just observing her, because like they had to turn the lights off for her to fucking sleep. But they had IR cameras on. It is possible that the light that was showing up was IR from like other electrical equipment, but I don't think so. They talk about it. With an instant film Polaroid SX70 with a 35 millimeter camera. The investigators indicated they encountered moving balls of light, but what the image shows takes a different appearance. A static circular band of light and a regular bright line and shapeless overexposed areas. Taff and Gaynor brought an infrared camera, but accidentally overexposed, rendering it unusable. Because the exact thing that I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, everything that I'm talking about with like shadow, it's hard to measure. Like, I can't discount it. I can't disprove. I don't know. It's just like with me, like I'm at a point of bias with it. Like, I'm not biased against you, but like with me, if I see a ghost, I'm probably not gonna think it's a ghost. It's just, it's a hallucination. Because me. For context, you guys don't know, I have schizophrenia, and it's not the sexy talk to Jesus kind. It's like the really boring, stupid kind. But if I see a shadow figure, which I've seen before, I don't see it like today, like as much. It's been like 15 years since I've seen one. Or no, well, like yeah, it's it's not like I don't know. If I see a ghost, I'm not gonna really know it's a ghost because it's just I'm just gonna say it's I'm skizzing. It's like I said, you have 4 categories that it could be: mental disorder, personality disorder, i.e., you're a bullshit artist and you need like attention, or it's actual supernatural phenomena, like something that is beyond our understanding of science and we cannot measure it, or it's like an effect, a natural effect, where it's like propane gas leakage, or electromagnetic fields, which are known to do that. It's hard to say, like who, like if you put me and Danny in a corner, like in a room, and you like measure that, like you could look at me, it's like, okay, he has a diagnosis with schizophrenia. You can explain that, like okay, and I would agree, like yeah, it's probably not a ghost, what I'm seeing. But Danny, I can't. I don't know. Like none of us really know. Have you had any experiences, Ben? I have, but it wasn't ghosts though. I know what it is. It was schizophrenia. It was early onset schizophrenia. Like the number one thing that people with early onset schizophrenia see, or shadow people. It's just an aspect of psychology. Where if you look at every fucking person alive can look at the clouds and we can see faces. It's like the number one thing to do. Well, same thing goes, with like shadows. You'll see fucking people. You can draw like a conclusion to people. We are fixated. We're social creatures. Yeah, pattern recognition. But it's like but we're predisposed to identifying people. That's why when you first look at somebody, you make eye contact. But if it's like a dude and you're looking at a chick, you're going to make eye contact and then look at her boobs. It's just how we're designed. Doesn't matter if you want to fuck them or not. We are just designed that way. Same thing with women. They will look at a guy in the eyes, and then they're going to look at the shoulders, maybe arms, and then like the shoes. This is a fact. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's subconscious. You can't help it. You do it. Oh wait, I never noticed. Wait, I didn't know. I haven't looked anything about this case at all. I just know of this incident from the movie, but then I looked into it like a little bit. Like I said, it's been like 20 years. But I'm reading right here, based on Byther's story, his own observations, and the photographs. Taft concluded paranormal phenomena must have been involved, calling the case a haunting. Reviewing the case 4 decades later, investigator Benjamin Radford concluded this case likely involves a distressed family with stress, poor investigation techniques, and confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a massive thing too, involving ghosts, where people that are prone to believing in ghosts will naturally believe in ghosts, and then it's just it's an effect of human psyche. But not against you, Dan. I'm just saying I can't measure that.
I was just breathing.
Yeah, I got you guys, but I meant things like predictions, dreams that came true, disappearing stuff. Oh well, yeah, but I mean, it's like, how do you replicate that? It's like when I was first having my shit, I would. I'm not joking. I would set down my TV remote. Mind you, when you have schizophrenia, especially early onset, you're having short-term memory loss. That's like a massive aspect of schizophrenia. So I would set down a TV remote as a routine to look for a ghost, but I would forget that I did that because I was looking for ghosts. So I would sit down on the TV remote because it wasn't, nobody ever has schizophrenia. Nobody ever has like some mental health issue. They never do until it fucking happens. But you're not going to know this because it seems so real. But I would set down everything about my barracks. I would set it down in like an attentional purpose manner, but I would still need to use it like my TV remote. So I would pick it up, turn on the TV, but in my head, every time I'm touching it, I'm putting it down in a consistent spot. But I would move it to use it and set it down, pass out, wake up, and then to look to see if shit is in the same position, and it would be moved. But I wouldn't remember it because of short-term memory loss. Short-term memory loss, schizophrenia. It's super common. Memory is most impaired when people with schizophrenia try to form relationships between items. Remembering to also buy eggs, milk, and butter when buying flour. Havana syndrome? What is Havana syndrome? I never heard of that. What the fuck is Havana syndrome?
It started with a weird, piercing sound.
It was persistent,
High-pitched.
High-pitched sound.
very, very loud.
Those who heard it
fuck?
told newspapers it was soon followed by
Strong nausea,
An incredible case of vertigo.
dizziness.
Excruciating headache.
Is it people hearing this sound and then they're attributing like regular illnesses to this sound and then they're communicating to their friends and then their friends are like, oh, I was feeling the same way. And then they were all kind of became like an echo chamber where they were tying like varying levels of like everyday things to this one sound. Is that what this is?
Echo chambers, dude. I can't do them.
TLDR, the CIA used energy weapons on a building full of politicians of Havana. Oh shit, this is very different. This is a very different aspect. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like
These
psychology.
mysterious afflictions were first reported in the Cuban capital in 2016,
Yeah.
and they were thus called.
Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome.
Since then, more cases have been reported in China, Vienna, and now also Berlin. The symptoms were described as
An invisible.
We have one.
Very shallow into where you're.
Without permanent harm.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin.
It's
Goes
a
very
microwave,
shallow,
but it feels like you're
into where
cooking.
your nerve receptors are, and there's no
Really?
no permanent injury.
Yeah, this is it. There was on Future Weapons, and Mac grabbed. He was fuck. What was it? The commander at Moody Air Force Base. Mac. He was a SEAL. He was like doing it on the episode of Future Weapons, and I forgot the colonel's name, but he was a real cool guy. He was like a Security Forces commander over there, and he was trying it out, getting roasted. And it was like, he's not actually cooking, but it's the effect. Your brain is interpreting like a cooking effect, but you're not actually cooking. You could totally stand in it for fucking hours and not get long-term damage, but you get the sensation that you're cooking. And so you run off, but it's not. Like, there's no long-term permanent damage at all. It's like your skin is basically, the effect is the outer layer of your fucking skin is reflecting the microwaves. Low wavelength microwaves, but because your skin is not accustomed to that effect, to feel microwaves like that, your brain interprets it as I'm boiling, and so it makes you uneasy and you want to run. But there's a Security Forces dude right back there actually, and yeah, they and it's like a future. Yeah, it's an effect from it, but it's for like riot control, to break people up, but that's just one type of energy weapon too. Yeah, there's a bunch of different kinds though.
Very safe.
Whole
system,
bunch of different
building
kinds.
some Safety margins and.
Any of the its effective.
The only reason we haven't put this in full, like widespread application, is because of how expensive it is, how niche of a technology this is for like a usage, and the energy that it requires to be used. It's just Coy versus Roy. It's just cheaper to have fucking like a couple E3s with riot shields and batons to break up a riot rather than to blow all this money on like machines like this and train operators and maintenance.
Many victims reported brain damage without ever sustaining a concussion. What's even stranger is that of about 200 reported cases, nearly half involved CIA agents. That's why these incidents stop.
Wait, Begon, is this brain damage as in like severe, like long-term effect, or is it like a measurable difference in like synapse that will like correct itself later in the future? No, it's sickness though? Oh, okay. That's the
But
thing, when people say brain damage, it could mean anything from being like a paraplegic with your fucking half of your skull missing, or somebody with like a light concussion. Like, you know, like it could be long-term but not permanent. Yeah, because your synapse will like rewire themselves. Like there's people that have encephalitis, where your brain is like mostly liquid, but the brain will just rewire itself. You make really dense, like synaptic connections to compensate for it. Your brain is super malleable.
Conjectures abounded. The investigations that followed
Wait, we'll check this out later. I want to see the shit about
Hard to
ghosts.
pin down.
This is gonna be an ass pain to edit. I'm gonna start uploading these to YouTube.
For those of a skeptical bent, when it comes to ghosts, well, there's a lot less here than meets the eye.
I don't know that movie. What is that
The
movie?
ghosts that I've witnessed and that I've been exposed to and that I've been
James
offered
Randi.
as examples are usually
James
the
Randi.
results of poor understanding of technology, of psychology, or of perfectly ordinary events that happen to us all the time and can be misinterpreted.
First, there's the old standby. Ghosts are dead people. Dead people who had something like a transporter malfunction beaming from the here and now to
I give credence to this solely based on science, which is the quantum theory,
I'm
which we
on my
talked about
laptop,
earlier.
Danny, on Twitch.
This is what makes me kind of, because energy doesn't go away, it doesn't disappear, it just translates to something else. If I die out in the woods, fungus and animals are going to eat me and absorb that energy, and then that energy is going to get transferred to somewhere else. That is an absolute fact. That's just thermodynamics. Wait,
Yes, but where else? If the energy is transposed to somewhere else, where?
yeah,
Are we
but-
going back to quantum theory?
Oh wait, no. Oh wait, yeah, wait, and energy. Yeah, so yeah, it is thermodynamics. Yeah, but we don't know though. That's the thing. We don't know because we don't know how to measure that. It's like, how do you measure for a ghost? Well, we have 4 ways to measure it, but if it's supernatural or like a natural, if it's supernatural and natural, well, now you have to weed it out. But if it's supernatural, the whole point of it being supernatural is that it's beyond our understanding. How do you measure something that is beyond our understanding?
looped videotape of a moment in time, this kind of haunting seems to have no will of its own and does not interact with the
Ghosty story time? Yeah, I'm trying to get to the Ghosty. I'm trying to get to the fucking video.
Living.
It took us like 3 hours to get through. This is a 2.5-minute video, and it took us like 40 minutes to get through it.
A third type is called a crisis apparition, when the dead are said to appear shortly after their deaths to people close to them.
Yes, but this could be attributed to trauma.
They are reputed to be aware of their deaths and can interact with the living, most often bringing messages of comfort.
That tells me trauma. Okay. Now, are ghosts real? All right, Wendigo. Floor is yours. Tell us your spooky story.
God damn it, it's ghosty telling time.
Okay, I'm here for it.
God damn it.
Yep.
I was in bed, and then I seen Ghost. And then I'm going to my fucking Western.
Okay.
Sounds oddly like my story, Noah.
He's stealing your story.
Okay. So, what is this then? So,
Yeah.
my mom died.
Yes.
So, one night, I didn't know where any of my shit was, like my social security card, my birth certificate, right? Didn't know where it was. Looked for it, could not find it.
Mhm.
So one night I was sleeping, and I woke up in my dream. Obviously, I woke up in this bright fucking room, and my mom showed up out of nowhere, and she was like, "Hey," I was like, "What's up?" She's like, "Do you want to know where your stuff is? It's in my purse in the closet." I was like, "Cool, thank you." And she was like, "I love you," and then she went away. And then I woke up in like an operating room in my dream, and the doctor was like beating on my chest with bright lights. He was like, "You're not dying yet. You're not dying yet." And then I woke up. I was like, "What the fuck?" So I called my mom's boyfriend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, can you check the closet if like my shit's up there in our purse?" He was like, "Yeah." So it was there. Like he called me back. He was like, "Yeah, it's up there."
No, I don't know. I'm just pointing it out like the 4. I'm not being disrespectful or anything, but it's like you've got just how on the outside in you have what you experienced comes up, and then you have one pathway and then another. To me, it sounds like one, the actual supernatural, something that is beyond our understanding, that because it's like we can't measure it. There is evidence that there is stuff like this that does actually happen, where it's like loved ones from coming from beyond the. I sound like I'm being mad disrespectful. I don't mean to. But there's like that. Then there's also another angle where you knew before. That's where it would be, and because of trauma, you interpret it as that. So that's like the problem when it deals with like ghosts. It's like, where is it? Like if I see another shadow person, it could either be schizophrenia episode. It's one of the 4 that I would talk about where it's like, you know, mental health thing, or it could actually be a fucking ghost. Like, but how do you? One, I can explain readily. There's that one. We can measure that and then explain that. But the other aspect is it could actually exist and be a thing, but we can't measure that. That's like the problem with like ghosts and stuff. Like that's the issue that I see when dealing with like ghost phenomena, because it's like you can always trail it back to like one of the 4. And that's like the problem with ghosts. But the issue though is that there's a lot of stuff that you cannot explain, where there's some elements of some of these effects where you can't, there is not an explanation for it, where it's multiple people. What was it? People saw Mother Mary. What was it? Begone, what was it?
Virgin Mary?
Yeah, the Virgin. Wait, what did I say?
It's the Children of Fatima.
Yeah, it was like 100. No, it was like recent in I think Mexico. Hundreds of people. But okay, I love you, Ben. But hell, open your mind. I am. What do you mean? I just said it could be one of 2 things. This is like the problem with ghosts. I even said with me. It's like if I see a ghost, like a shadow figure pop out from the door over here, it's one of 2 things. It's either schizophrenia, or it's actually a ghost. How do you measure that? How? How do you guys, if I tell you guys I see a ghost guy come out, and I tell you guys, or like, we don't even need to say, make it hypothetical, something that actually happened. When I was like having developmental early stages schizophrenia, and I was actually seeing shadow people consistently and hearing them, and I tell you guys that, it's one of 2 things. It's either it's schizophrenia, like early onset schizophrenia, where like my brain is like readjusting to like a disorder and doesn't know how to interpret that information that is happening in my subconscious. Therefore, it translates it into like the consciousness. Like there's that, but it's also possible that it was actually ghosts, like you know, a ghost effect. You can't measure that, but you also can't really measure the schizophrenia shit, because it's like there's not a USB port in the back of my head to pull up like CPU and GPU fucking usage rates and like, you know, like a bottleneck somewhere. You can't really measure it. The things you can do, but not definitive. I just did. That's not a definitive thing. I'm recognizing it. It's like one of the 2. I'm just highlighting why, like, or not why, but like how it's hard to write off and also explain away like supernatural, like ghost events. Like you can't. It's hard. Okay,
Like
my
those
bad.
are 2 of the ones that really stick with me because I can't explain them.
Yeah.
But I have others.
Oh yeah.
But then, a couple years later, I had another dream. My mom came visit me again, and she was there with me. And then she turned into this lady, right? I don't know who the fuck it was, but like, it was real. I swear to God, like I could feel her fucking hands around my throat trying to kill me.
What the fuck?
Like I woke up screaming from a dead sleep. I didn't sleep for like a week straight because I was terrified. Like she was in all white and like she like climbed on top of me. Like she held me down and like she took off her white fucking face covering. And there was just nothing there. It was just
bland.
It was just black. It was just black, and I couldn't like fathom it. And like it went in and like started strangling me, and like I couldn't breathe. It was fucking scary, bro.
No, not that.
Like I contacted my Indian friend. I was like, how do I get rid of evil spirits? Because like sage your room, I was like, okay, so I saged my room, never happened again.
Yeah. Kiana was doing that when I had my last bad episode, like right when Autumn was born. You know, because like schizophrenia is like stress responsive. So I was under a lot of stress dealing with like, I'm not saying this is you, but I'm just saying. It was like, because Kiana started doing the same shit, because Kiana's like, you met her. She was like, wait, did Kiana, when we were there, talk about like spirituality shit? No? Oh yeah, she was wanting us just to get fucked up in her corner of the house. But she used to sage the house all the time and shit, and she was like worried that it was like actual like spirits and shit with schizophrenia. And I would tell her like, no, like if you're not, get freaked the fuck out, okay? If I'm seeing shadow people and like weird shit, then like if you're seeing that same shit as me, then you get freaked out. Like if not, then like ignore it, like it's dog shit. But she was like so worried though after my bad incident where I saw the bitch swimming through the ceiling, where she was like saging the house and shit. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's it, dude. Like, I don't think that's gonna fix it. But it was just funny. And nothing against you, but it's just like Kiana though, where it's like I don't know. It's like the problem with like ghost shit, where it's like you can't measure.
Like I am like terrified. Like I don't ever want to see her again. Like.
Well, you shouldn't feel that way. I mean, if it's like constant negative experiences, but if it's like a thing that's, even if it's like supernatural or like psychological, well, maybe not psychological, if you're making shit up, but then you're kind of a bum. But if it's mental though, and it's not negative, well, then you shouldn't be scared of it. Like even with me,
I was terrified of the woman because like it felt so fucking real. Like I woke everyone up in the house from screaming.
Yeah.
When I woke up.
Yeah, you know, like I get yeah. It was like, you know, I was the same way. I told you about me. It was like, you know, when I first gone through it, I was like staying at my parents' house and I was like crying like a bitch and shit. And I was telling him, I was like, I'm gonna tell the first sergeant. I was like, yeah, I need to get the fuck out, you know, because it was a ghost to me at that time. My dad was like, you carry a gun, don't tell your first sergeant you're seeing ghosts. Like, he was like, yeah, okay, that's a good point. So I just did it. But as I got older though, and I was like dealing with it, you know, even today, I still kind of play with it a bit. You know, I can still like entertain it and like mold it around or whatever. But it's like, if you run from it, like just from like a psychology standpoint, from my experience, if you're afraid of it, it just gets so much worse. It just builds on it, and it gets so out of control that it becomes scary. But for me, it's like it's not scary because it's scary. It's because I'm losing control of myself, and that's the scary element of it. But it's kind of fun to kind of distort it, to mess with, you know, to shape it in ways. In that aspect I kind of like. But I don't know, you know, if you ever have that again, you know, try not, you know, and just, I know it's harder to say than to do, but you try not to be afraid of it and try to maybe indulge in it a bit, but know that, you know, it may be supernatural, but you're not going to know if it's supernatural or not. But if it's not supernatural, then you can maybe distort it in a way. And if you can distort it, then you'll know, you know, that it's, you know, just in your head. And then if you can identify that it's in your head and it's not actually real, well, then you can, you know, start chipping away at it over time where it's not actually fucking scary. Hey, what up, Lex? Sorry, Noah and Danny sound similar? No, the fuck they don't. What the fuck? They do not sound similar. What the fuck?
To be talking about my experience with psychosis.
Where's Danny?
Psychosis can be a coping mechanism
Right here.
to manage stress.
See? We sound
Psychosis
the
can
same.
happen when the psyche fragments to protect the ego.
Yes.
And
Danny
the
has
mind
that
retreats from
Italian
the external
accent. I have
dimension
this,
into
you know,
a more
the
symbolic
southern twang.
internal subconscious dimension.
I don't know why she's using excessive verbiage, but basically, if you're under a lot of stress not meaning bill stress, relationship stress, job stress, whatever. It's like when I got out of the military, that's stress because I was transferring over from being in the military to being a civilian. It's a lifestyle change. That's stress. You know. But yeah, but like stress, like it's not bill stress. When people say stress, it's not necessarily bill stress or job stress or whatever, or some shit like that. like stuff like change to your life. Having a kid is stress. It's new. It's people when they think of stress, I think it's like something crazy, but there's good stress and there's bad stress. Good stress is like lifting, hobbies, shit like that is good stress. Shit that burns off the cortisol in your body. Those like stress hormones. I think it's really interesting, the ghost happening shit that can't be like disproven, where people
Notice me,
it's
senpai.
like electromagnetic
Notice me.
differences in areas, or there's instances in hospitals where people are dying, and then it's fucking up with observations of other people around in other areas. So if you have somebody in like hospital room like 5, you have people at 3 and 6, or at like 4 and 6 are having other effects to their body, like other differences. There's shit that's like we don't have an explanation for that. And I'm not talking about either where it's like, oh, the soul weighs like 12 grams because there's a 12 gram. No, that's just a difference in like dead weight. If you're fully dead, if you get on a scale and you're like lifting your arm like this, there's going to be a measurable difference in your fucking body weight. It's because you're lifting, the momentum is driving it up. Same thing with like, your lungs.
I mean, it's like
But-
trying to pick up someone standing up than when they're just dead weight.
Yeah, there's a reason why we call it dead weight. It's because they're dead. They're not breathing. There's no other shit like, a thing to lift weight off them. There's like a negative effect to lift weight off. That's why we call it dead weight. It's because it's dead weight. It's full weight. This is it. It's hand marks burned into it. Maybe it's bullshit. But from what I know, people have looked into it and they can't figure out, like welders and shit, can't figure out how they got this effect. Visiting the famous gravesite of Resurrection Mary. I want to see the bars.
Yeah, she walks down the thing.
Yes. And people will pick her. Yes.
Stories of vanishing
Pick her up,
hitchhikers.
and then they'll be gone.
Yes. They'll be getting the back seat and then they're gone. And there's like a bunch of different, mind you, this could be complete bullshit where people are just reporting shit. It's like old Lizard Man from Beaufort, South Carolina. So where it's complete bullshit. Absolute case of that. It's possible, but there's also other elements too, which people have also investigated, which they might also be like anything from confirmation bias to just outright bullshit artists. I don't know, but there's like a lot of them though. A lot of people that seem to be pretty nonpartisan that have like evaluated a lot of this shit, and they're like, there's like weird phenomena with this.
Date back to biblical times. Tales of weary night travelers who become unwitting.
Usually in the 1920s or 30s, there's a version of the story that talks about little Anna Norkus, who was a 12 knew outside late at night. There's a version of the story that connects Resurrection Mary to a girl named Mary Miskowski that was from the Bridgeport neighborhood on the scene. Mary Bogovi was a beautiful young woman, a factory
Not in
worker
that photo.
in the
Wrong
packing
filter.
town of the Stockyards district in the back of the yards.
Haunted history, Resurrection Mary. Good. A good 2-minute video. Hit me with it, Daddy.
Resurrection Cemetery and Resurrection Mary are probably the quintessential Chicago ghost story. I mean, it has a national and international recognition. You talk about ghost stories in Chicago, and Resurrection Mary is the
that doll
who has appeared outside the...
Don't get me started on Annabelle.
Robert.
No, Robert.
Oh, Robert. He seems legit. Yeah. Totally nonpartisan.
gates of Resurrection Cemetery in that local...
Wait, Resurrection Mary has a famous photo? Really? There's actually, it's funny that I'm looking at this. There's a reflection on the hood because there are really weird photos of like ghost phenomena. It's like whenever you see the Gimlin video of Bigfoot, it's like, it's highly probable it's bullshit. However, what's the likelihood of somebody to fake that and make it female and give it boobs? Like that aspect throws me off, where it's like, it's got boobs. Like, stuff like that. It's like, you made it female. But normally when people... If I type in Bigfoot right now, it's going to be, like, very masculine depictions. There we go. Masculine. 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 Okay, well that's Gimlin. Okay, just remove the female or the Gimlin stuff. But it's like masculine. Masculine.
Biggest.
Masculine. I don't know what the fuck
biggest,
that is.
Yeah, the best Bigfoot movie is Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes, it is actually. It is unironically is. I think it was made by Stan Winston. I think he designed it. Oh wait, why did I click on that? Whatever. But like the point is like whenever you look at any depiction of Bigfoot ever, it's always like masculine-ish, and it's weird that a guy would come out, make it like feminine. It's weird. Granted, it doesn't make sense as to why its face would be covered in fur. Like if it was in like the Arctic, I could see why it would have fur, but if it's like just like in Northern California, why the fuck would it have fur on its face?
Paranormal with ghosts and that kind of stuff is just, it's just all experience, and it's hard to replicate anyway. Well, Bigfoot is far and few in between, and is a different kind of subject all in general.
Yeah.
Same thing as stage photos like Loch Ness monsters, those legendary creatures that are there. You know what I mean? Resurrection Mary. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. The reason why I say the Resurrection Mary and the Women in White, there are so many stories of women in white that
a lot of it is like a trope.
All the same story.
Well, Resurrection Mary is weird because it's so many disjointed experiences with it, and they're all similar. But it's like, it's either everybody is bullshitting, which is possible. It's extremely possible. Everybody just wants like a minute, like 15 minutes of fame. What I have to see though, hasn't it, Resurrection Mary been very consistent for like the last 100 years? It was like people are reporting this for the last 100 years. It was something.
Yeah.
It was like extremely consistent. World's strangest. So it's either an optical illusion, or, which is seems more likely, or it's like a gravitational effect. I don't think it would be supernatural because you can replicate this and you can measure it. I don't know anything about this.
I'm Mike, and I'm currently driving down a hill.
Oh, it is optical illusion?
Put the car in neutral, stick the handbrake on.
Yeah, Begon, that's what I was saying, optical illusion, but what is the illusion? Because the illusion, people have brought compasses and magnetic testing equipment, just optics? Is that all that it is? And then the fingerprint aspect is what I was saying, where it's just fingerprints in the back of the car, where it's like wind is like a fucking with like the, you know what, there's a news coverage. This is like a famous video. Where it was like local news was looking at it and then it replicated and then everybody's like freaked out. But when you go back and you look at it, it's like they put on a heavy layer of baby powder on the back. But then it was like they did it, and then when you come back and you look at it, they're freaking out. But it's like the heavy, thick coat of baby powder is pretty much gone. So it's like a slim film of the baby powder. But now that the big, thick-ass caked layer is gone, now you're going to see fingerprints because the fingerprints have always been there.
Gravity is not pushing me to the bottom of the hill. It appears that gravity is pulling me back up the hill. It appears that the car is rolling uphill. What the hell is going on here? Well, this is Ronag Road on the Isle of Man, known as the Magnetic Hill on the island. So, is there some weird inverse physics going on, or could it be witchcraft, or is there a simple explanation? Well, on the
Occam's razor. It's usually Occam's razor.
Witchcraft front, the Isle of Man isn't short of folklore. They had plenty of witch trials here, and they even have a fairy bridge in the south of the island where you literally have to shout, "Hello fairies," as you cross it, or your family will be shrouded in bad luck for 1,000 years. Standing stones, castle-dwelling phantom dogs, this place is full of superstition.
Confirmation bias.
Could the Magnetic Hill be cursed? Or could it be some weird phenomenon of physics? A gravity shield acting on this specific bit of road that inverses the way our world
I don't know
normally
anything about
works?
this.
Could it be
I
alien
really have no idea.
technology? Could there be magnets in the bushes at the side of the road? The optical illusion comes from the fact that we're on a tilted piece of land. The hill that we're on and the road tilt in the same direction, but the road tilts at much less of an angle. So once you rotate the entire thing, our brains perceive that the road is tilting the other way. What we need to recalibrate our brains to realize what's really going on is a horizon. We can't see one today,
That like
but
the,
that
hill
would
that
show
goes-
the
that
angle
everything
of the
goes uphill.
landmass relative
Yeah.
to the
The world
horizon,
against me.
and therefore reveal
I
that there
literally
aren't
get
any
out of
weird
bed
physics going on. The car is
You know
simply
what? Fuck you guys.
rolling downhill.
I could be watching a movie right now.
So
with
this
Beacon.
is
No,
what
you
our
having
human
fun.
senses
Begone
portray
didn't
as
watch enough the
happening,
shit-ass
but
movie.
this
You just met me being on a best friend.
is what's really happening when
No,
you realign
Begone is
for
just
the
abandoned
horizon.
me. He hates
or
me.
You
You're
could
s-
be really
you're-
boring and come here and just do this.
Wait, what?
Mystery solved. Today's video was about cars rolling uphill.
You know what's crazy
next?
is that I just pulled that out of my ass. The optical illusion. I don't know. I swear, I don't know shit about this. I'm so proud. I just know.
AI.
Yeah. I asked ChatGPT. He's probably fake too.
ChatGPT,
AI.
dude.
I just have seen
ChatGPT, dude.
bits in Philly, because you will see it driving in Philly, where it's like houses, or it's like you'll have like this kind of shit where it's like a road goes up this way, but then you'll have houses that are like on platforms like this, and then they go up again like this, and the houses are like straight up, but it's hard to put in a picture like on here like this. But when you're driving around like Roxborough or Manayunk, it kind of throws you off because it's like everything is like flat as fuck. Like everything is like flat and like uniform. Like this house is like actually like way up here. But like all the houses are like uniform, like height wise, and it throws you off like while you're driving on it. And that's what made me think about this.
He seemed kind of sus.
Hey, that's what came. I'm so proud. I might. Woo! So hey, it's optical illusion. Wait, what are some weird? New evidence that proves ghosts are real. I'm actually curious.
Ghosts. For some, the word
It might bring up Danny's. There is actual science behind ghosts, which is weird, and I can't disprove it.
Energy.
alone is enough.
Yeah.
And it cannot be destroyed.
Yes. But it depends on what they're defined by real. Are they defining real as in it's an actual supernatural entity? Or are they saying ghosts are real based on like a phenomena that affects us? It could be I don't know, beings or anything, but possible like energy that hasn't dissipated, and we're picking it up because our synapse pick up shit. Or even it's not even just synapse. What is it? People in Alaska hearing radio from mattresses. There's shit like this.
That's because they're just fucking cold.
No, it was a crazy powerful radio antenna was putting shit out. But if you had metal fillings, you were hearing radio. You were hearing radio transmissions and shit. And then, or if you were sleeping, or if you had a metal mattress back in the day with like metal springs, you would go to bed and you were hearing radio transmissions through your fucking bed.
Oh, so
no, we
that's
were on
not
the
why I
last.
hear voices in my head.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's just an effect. I'm just pointing out like what they could be talking about in this. Need a tinfoil bed? Yeah, I was actually shocked. Pagan told me about that. It was like tinfoil is an amazing insulator for this kind of shit, radio waves. I didn't even know about that. I didn't know the tinfoil. I thought the tinfoil hat thing was like a super old like meme to make fun of like paranoid people. No, we looked it up. It's actually a legit thing. Like, it's fucking legit. Yeah, the Friday arcades. I had no idea. They would disprove my own personal experiences that have been physical? No. Wendigo, I'm not trying to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not out to disprove and say. All that I'm, like, saying, like, the whole point, like, when Noah, with the stuff like Noah was experiencing, when I did, like, the thing where it's like, it could be trauma or it could be supernatural. All I was highlighting is that the issue with dealing with ghosts is, like, you don't know. You can't. One of them, you could point to, like, a trail. Like, even with me, where, like, I'm skizzing the fuck out, seeing and hearing stupid shit. Like, there's an extremely high probability that whatever the fuck I'm experiencing then was, like, schizophrenia. However, there's also evidence on the other end to point to supernatural shit, and that's what Danny and I, Dana dipped out, fucking Danny. But it also points to that where you have quantum theory, where it's true that physicists know this, and we don't understand it. It's where energy does not, like if I have. Like, let's say 5,000 of energy. Let's just say that's a measurement. 5,000 of energy.
5,000 energy?
Let's just, yeah.
Like, get it right.
Is it cojoules?
I don't
or
know.
joules?
I'm just giving you shit.
No, I don't know what a measurement of energy is, because energy can be a bunch of different things. Kinetic, like, there's a bunch of different kinds of energy.
We'll
like
call it
potential energy, like there's a million different measurements. Joules, yeah, but joules, I believe, is a specific kind of energy. Yeah, a Newton is in physics. That's, yeah, Newtonian physics. However, the potential energy for okay, this is like newtons. You would measure this energy output as a newton. However, ATP, the conversion of energy between ATP to ADP to make my muscles do this, that is a different measurement of energy.
Yeah,
it's like
poundage.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like you're pounding someone's butt.
Pounding ass. Hertz versus RF energy, etc. Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just in general. Like,
we'll call it G for ghosties.
Yeah,
right?
ghosties. Yeah, let's just say that. Let's say I'm worth 5,000 G, 5,000 ghost energy, and I die. A plant has a maximum amount of energy that it can hold, because it can only survive so long, and so it's not going to just absorb all the 5,000 G from me and just die immediately because it can't support that. It's going to take in maybe 500 of that. What happens to the other 4,500 G? Like, it has to go somewhere. Now you can point to it and be like, okay, maybe it's like fungus and whatever. And like this is true. That's what oases are. When you go to a desert and you see like small pockets of areas where you have trees with you have like your water and you have a bunch of trees, but the trees are only so high and there's only so many of them because that's only so much energy that can be like supported for these animals or these organisms in that area. But what happens if I'm worth, like, let's say they ran off of G's. What happens if I die in that? You know, what happens to that energy? It has to go somewhere. That's like the whole point of quantum physics. Is like energy has to go somewhere. And that's where you have like antimatter. I drew like a thing up explaining it. You have antimatter and then you've got dark matter. Dark matter is like the shadow of physics. It's the shadow of it. If I hold my hand up in front of a light, the negative effect of my hand is the shadow. That's what the shadow is. That's what dark matter is. It's not actual matter. It's just the absence of it in that area. However, in math, mind you, physics is math. So if you have +2 with a -2 and you combine them, you get a 0. That's what antimatter is. So if I have the proverbial 10-ounce banana that I have, but then you somehow get a hold of the exact same material that is the opposite of that 10-ounce banana, and you combine them, they're going to cancel one another out. That's what antimatter is. We don't understand a lot of elements in that, though. We can only measure those. Read my comment. I respect your opinion, but feel sorry that you have never experienced a paranormal, and you are very constrained. What do you mean? Are you trolling? But wanting to believe? What do you mean? They would disprove my personal experience that have been physical? I can't disprove that. What do you mean? I've been saying that. I've been saying that's what the problem, like, that's the issue with. Wait, what the fuck is what am I looking for? Wendigo, what do you mean? I've been extremely charitable. I've been said we don't know if ghosts don't exist. We can't prove nor disprove them. That's the whole philosophy behind supernatural. This is the supernatural definition. What do you mean? I am. Manifestation or event attributed to some force beyond scientific understanding or the laws of nature. Meaning we cannot measure it. What do you mean? I mean, I could have easily said, yeah, ghosts are dog shit. Even with Noah, I could have said, yeah, no, Noah's full of shit. Yeah, he's making it up for attention. Or, oh, yeah, it's just trauma. I could have said any of that. No.
Still on the trauma?
Huh?
Still trauma and ghost?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I came back. I went to go take some shots of moonshine.
Oh, God. No, Wendigo said that I'm not being charitable at all to, like, the supernatural. I am the most charitable supernatural because you can't disprove it. You can't prove nor disprove it. So whenever I hear people that are, like, physicists, and, like, because a lot of physicists agree, they might not actually believe that it's, like, individual, like Resurrection Mary individually exists, but they absolutely agree. Like, they believe in the quantum theory. Quantum theory, you can absolutely draw connections between quantum theory and, like, the supernatural.
Yeah,
what makes something supernatural is that you can't measure it.
But what if quantum theory is right and that's just people who didn't get it correct and was like, fuck, I'm stuck here now. Like, they're not good at math. Like,
well, it would be like the energy from their body actually carries data, information.
Better yet, are you ready? How come all the ghosts that we see and people talk about are from, like, the 1700s and 1800s?
Yeah, I know.
But,
It's
like,
never...
There's nothing from, like
92.
Like, modern.
I know.
Modern. Like, they're not, like, walking around in, like, cargo shorts, like, spiky hair.
No, I know. For, like, the early 2000s, yeah. The more notable ones. But the problem, though, is that we don't know. Because a lot of that is rooted in folklore and it was, like, in bullshit or whatever. But there are effects, though. Like I said earlier, where people die, you look it up. This is like a thing that happens where it's like people will die in a hospital. We don't know why, but people will die in, like, hospital room 5. But in 4 and 6, there will be, like, at times, there will be, like, effects to their, like, monitors and stuff like that. Like, their physiology. There'll be effects whenever people, like, a person close to them dies. This is, like, well documented. We don't understand why. We don't understand what that is. Video fidelity and Bigfoot sightings are very inversive relationships. Quite curious. Yeah, I think 90% sure Bigfoot is dog shit. The only reason I give it any, like, 5% credibility is because we can't disprove that a 9-foot gorilla doesn't exist. But all evidence, I would 1,000% argue that virtually every fucking sighting, every fucking observation we've ever had of Bigfoot is dog shit. It's all bullshit, a cash grab. It's part of the cryptid industry.
Hilarious.
What?
I have a hat that literally says Bigfoot's real, and he tried to eat my ass. Like, I should.
Right, Jesus. Yes, he did try to eat my ass too. What the fuck? What do you? I never said you were full of shit or lying or anything. That's not what I was saying. I've said this 1,000 times. Like, did I not say this? like a billion times? I was like, it could be, but the problem is, like, one, how do you measure either of these? How do you measure that? Like, you can't measure that. And two, how do you measure for a ghost? How the fuck? What metric do you do? Is it just electrics? Well, that could be a billion different things if it's electrics.
Diagram now. I think Ben's the actual ghost.
I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost.
Down their spine, and for others, it's just a silly
and there was
superstition.
nothing there.
The question of whether ghosts are real
Hey,
or not
way to
is
go, Walt.
directly
Click my
tied
dick
to our
pic.
beliefs of what happens when we die.
did.
Is the human body all there is, or is there a
clicked
more
it.
supernatural element to our ultimate fate? Interestingly, all of
go.
the world's major religions agree on the existence of ghosts, and they're mentioned
Some nice
numerous
dick.
times across various
It is a
religious
nice dick.
texts. While in Christianity, the Holy Spirit is considered a vital part of the Holy Trinity and not an
Oh, God.
apparition in the common
This is gonna be a
understanding of the
nightmare to
word,
edit.
there are still numerous occasions where in the Bible ghosts are mentioned. The disciples,
you.
for example,
Banned.
famously feared Jesus when they encountered
Banned.
him walking
Banned.
toward them on water in the
September.
middle of a storm, asking if he's
dude,
a ghost.
it's like
Whether you
the
believe the
cock.
events of the Bible happened or not, what
Yeah,
is
you
clear
showed
is
me
that
this.
the authors themselves believed in
A
ghosts,
free
and in
testicle.
fact, a belief in ghosts is found throughout every major culture,
Aye.
dating back to the dawn of history itself.
Yes.
Today,
There's another element, which is either psychology or supernatural, where there's been this phenomenon that's been documented throughout time. We don't know exactly why.
modern science has given us many explanations for phenomena we
about to, Andrew.
traditionally considered to be ghosts. Dancing lights, which humans believed for millennia were
Ball lightning.
spirits or playful sprites,
ball
have
lightning.
been shown to be a rare phenomenon known as ball lightning.
Yeah.
Mental illness and even mass
Gotta restart
psychological
my computer,
delusions,
man.
along
So my
with
Discord kept shutting out randomly, and I don't know why.
Fuck. Yeah, it's weird. What's funny though is that everything that they're talking about in infographics, I never watched this, but it's literally the shit that I thought of. We're 2 for 2 so far, where it's like natural phenomena and then mental illness. They might not cover personality disorders. They probably lump personality disorders with mental disorders, but even I said that at the beginning of this, where you could make the case that personality disorder and mental disorder one and the same, except that one is intentional.
Possession.
Well, it's like
Possession.
people wanting a quick cash grab, or
Well,
like, you
I
know,
was
they're
getting into
bullshit
that.
artists.
September.
Oh,
The
I think s-
Warrens, the
They're
one
hardwired and
movie, The
extreme.
Conjuring 3 was a real story about a person being possessed and using it on trial when he
Ooh.
killed the person.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
extremely powerful pattern
Even
recognition
the
talents have
what's
explained
the,
away
what are their names?
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, I used to love them, but then the more I looked into them, the more I realized they were bullshit artists. I don't believe them, and I used to love them growing up.
I think Annabelle has a potential because of Robert.
Was there anything behind Robert? I know it's just a spooky story, but in terms
Robert?
of
Well, Robert, there was tales of
yeah,
people
he was-
taking stuff from him and going home, and bad shit would happen to them constantly, and then when they gave back the thing they took back from Robert with an apology letter, it would stop.
Yeah, but how much of that is a confirmation bias, though, where they picked him up, and then bad shit was happening, and then when they returned him, it was like, oh, okay, the evil thing is gone, so even though they're still getting bad shit, it's more manageable bad shit, like bills, where it's like, oh my god, the power bill used to be like $700 for like during the winter because we're having to run their heater, but after time went by and they returned them, it was like maybe $200 because they weren't having to run the fucking heat, like the AC, as much to keep the house warm, like shit like that. I don't know. That's just, to me, whenever I'm looking at it, it's like that's what instantly what I'm thinking is like confirmation bias, because I mean, I can't prove it. I can't prove nor disprove it, but that's like instantly what I'm thinking of is like confirmation bias. But once again, I can't prove it though.
great deal of ghostly sightings.
Not a lot. Not when it comes to ghosts, because it's all like theoretical shit. But that doesn't stop Wendigo from shitting on me. He's like, "You're not a believer. You're biased. You're a shit person. Fuck you, Ben." I didn't say anything.
Go stomp.
Just recently, the discovery of the
Just assume the worst, Ben. Consume product. Demand more product.
Yeah.
effects of extremely low-frequency sound waves on the human body helped explain a great deal of ghostly phenomenon. Those sound waves are too low for
Is it biased to not inherently believe once I have an argument before you've been convinced? I don't think it is. No, but that's some predisposition. But if you're, I love you, fuckface. No, you don't. Ben, I didn't say that. I didn't know you said. I was looking at your fucking angry ass comments. You're shitting on me, even though I was being extremely charitable. Consume capitalism, Ben. Ghosts are boring. Distracts from lizard politicians that roll over us. It's funny you were looking at that. You said that, Vagani, because we looked at that earlier, and I was like, I was explaining why reptiles are always horizontal. It doesn't make sense for a bipedal reptilian. It doesn't make sense, like physiologically. It makes no fucking sense.
But where did Mortal Kombat get the idea for reptile? Like, explain that to me.
Probably because you have moves like this in the game that aren't even finishers. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. This chick gets gutted, or blood gets turned into a scythe. She gets eviscerated. Oh, and a blood javelin shoved through her fucking mouth. Yeah, how could a reptile person exist in this world? It doesn't make sense. You're right. This makes zero sense. Oh, God. Y'all are wrong. How about Flat Earth? Fuck you, Ander. Don't even get me started.
Flat Earth? I love
more like Fat Earth?
Flat Earthers proved that Earth was round.
Dude, Flat Earth is hilarious. I want to do a Flat Earth debate. I would love to do a Flat Earth debate. I would love to. I wouldn't like to do it with Bigfoot because there's so many caveats, because you can't really... It's like, well, prove Bigfoot doesn't exist. Well, I can't disprove that undiscovered animal.
How can you look out into the stars, know that there's all these planets that are round, yet
but
our
the Earth
planet
is different.
the only one?
Well, because, mind you, remember what I said about stacking the conspiracy theory? This is how I identify a bullshit artist. You've got, like, Flat Earth right here, right? This is the conspiracy theory for Flat Earth. Okay, well, how do you explain like other planets that are around? Oh, well, NASA lies, and they doctored all their stuff, and they admit to using Photoshop to add color to it. So if they're using Photoshop to add color to the pictures, but then that means everything else is real, fake. Okay, well, how are they keeping that secret? How? Like, how are all these physicists, astrophysicists, like scientists, specialists dealing in space, and all these other employees of these other space programs, how are they all keeping it a secret? Well, you have the Jews that are controlling the world economy, and they want us under.
No.
It's always like this. It's stacking of conspiracy theories. The minute your conspiracy theory requires another conspiracy theory to work, it's bullshit. They believe stars are just lights in the firmament, and they don't think they are round. Yeah, well, they're not necessarily round. It's just blobs of gas. It was like a constant fusion reaction. They may be round. They may be, but they don't necessarily have to be. They're not square or triangle, but it could just be clouds. It depends on the phase of the star. That's why you have, like, the red giant or the red dwarf, and then you have, like, the yellow giant, and you have, like, the other form before it, where it's just, like, a cloud of, like, gaseous. It's not super bright, because it's not super dense, but it's, like, broad fucking cloud of shit with, like, a bunch of chemical reactions happening in space. This is what it is. We do not... Fuck you, Wendigo. I love you, but fuck you. I know what you're doing. Eat my ass.
effects on our bodies.
Well, I mean, evidently, when it comes
did not land on the moon there, Wendigo.
She's trolling. She's trying to provoke us.
Explain.
The way he was killing people. Yeah.
False vacuum theory. Yeah. Did you know? I do know that, like, the flag was waving on the moon.
Do you know why?
And that can't happen.
It can. Do you want to know why?
Yeah. Well, my dick can't wave in the shower either,
no,
can it?
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What do you mean by it can? It's a vacuum. There's no winds.
Yeah, it's a vacuum. It's sucking, idiot.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not even entertaining it. Fuck you guys. I know what you're doing. Eat my ass. Fuck you guys.
Many predators, such as roaring tigers, can let loose with ultra-low frequency sound waves. Researching the idea that ELF waves were responsible for much of our belief in ghosts, scientists discovered many pieces of modern equipment causing ELF waves.
Yes.
Things such as air conditioning units and industrial fans, when fitted improperly.
It's low wavelength. So when you look at light, when you look at color, humans can't perceive ultraviolet. However, there is an effect where we do pick up the residual effects of ultraviolet, and it leads to other, like, fuck it, never mind. Same effect, but with sound. Never mind. I already know I'm gonna get shit on. Fuck you guys.
It just so happens that many of these units were discovered in traditionally haunted locations. Yet there's some evidence that can be hard to dispel. And with the propagation of video recording
you get the
devices
frequency
throughout
wrong.
society,
You're wiggling
massive
the
piles
elf
of ghostly videos and
wavelengths wrong.
photographs
What
that
the
turn up
fuck?
every year beg the question: Is every video and photograph a hoax or a misidentified phenomenon?
We're in a
Could there
simulation.
be any truth to the ghost question? Exhibit.
There is one well-documented ghost story that I do actually believe, unless it's proven to be bullshit, but it may have been. But it was the famous hotel room security guard video, and I don't know if that's bullshit or not. And I don't
the
know.
one where he's in the hallway and he's running in.
Yeah, and
Back
he's
to
like,
this one?
huh?
And he's
We went over this one before.
Wait, was it bullshit?
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
No. We just talked about it before.
Oh, yeah, because that one's freaky as fuck. And from what I understand, they can't explain it. Because there's like 12 hours of video footage and nobody goes into that room. And like they've rewound it. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But it was like, we don't know what that is. We have no idea. It's an elf. Imagine all the chat high as fuck would be insanely fun. And it's either stoned out of their minds or drunk. That's what I have to deal with. And I'm talking about like quantum theory with these fucking dipshits. That's what I'm dealing with. Oh!
A haunted hospital.
Yeah, I can't. I fucking can't. I would talk about something basic like how we perceive color. And then when to go, we'd be like, oh my God, Ben, you're so smart. You're so smart, Ben. Ben, you're so smart. And then underneath, it'd be like, Ben has a baby dick. Fuck you. And then it'd be like a guy underneath would be like the N-word.